Okay, I'm going to take you through a quick teaser of cluster upgrading. Actually, cluster hopping. We don't really upgrade clusters. Um, Upgrading clusters is incredibly dangerous, and upgrading in place can lead to all kinds of issues in production that you can't really back out of. So we typically say, instead of upgrading clusters, create the cluster next to it, get everything set up and ready, and then migrate over with a blue-green. In this demo, I'm going to keep it real simple. We're not going to talk about gateways or TLS or anything like that. TLS, Codiac can manage that for you. But if you're terminating at the gateway, that's a little bit different. It's actually a little bit easier even. But for this scenario, we're just going to talk about mapping to a domain, this thing called buybybox.com. This will be our demo business. And inside of here is our system and our clusters. We've got dev, QA, production. We've got prod blue running here, and everything looks pretty healthy. We have two different domains here. We've got azure.buybybox.com and then our base buybybox. And so this is where our app is actually running. This is our deployment. So this is the piece here that this domain is bound to a URL strategy or an ingress strategy. So every time we create or deploy these workloads, no matter where we go, we'll lay in the URLs and ingress paths, routes based off of this strategy. So you've got app.prodblue.@buybybox.com because it's following this service.cabinet.domain. Same with this here. So that way we sort of pull ourselves out of the busy work and business of, well, what, URLs go to what services, go to what endpoints, blah, blah, blah. It's really patterned out. So this allows us to transfer things over when it comes time. But let's get into that real quick. So I want to get off of this old cluster. Let's say this is a cluster that's cost me money. It's old version. And I need to get off of Azure or get off of this region, whatever it is. For this demo, we're actually going to be doing this cluster upgrade or this blue-green movement from Azure to AWS, but it would work the same way in the same region. It would work the same way, across different regions. This just so happens to be across two different clouds. So what we have here is we've got some wildcarded subdomains. So I've got Azure over here, I got AWS over here, and I've got internal currently on a different cluster altogether. So I've got three clusters here, three ingress IPs. So let's go create a new cabinet. Let's call it green. And we have the option to put it on our old cluster or put it on the AWS cluster that we created. And so that's our new cluster that we want to be targeting. And now we need to be able to put everything that got production working in this new cluster. And so if you look here, we have all of our resources, all of our workloads, the Helm charts, deployments, Helm charts that turn into CRDs, secrets, configurations, all this stuff is packed in here. And we tag this as release 110. So I can go into my snapshots now and say, well, let's go find 110. And here it is. This is my entire system at exactly this version. So I can drag all of that system over and put all of what's making blue work into green. So this is going to deploy out my entire system to that new cluster. So that deploys this release 110 to that new cluster on AWS East 1. It's getting all these workloads set and setting memory, CPU, replica sets, sets secrets and configurations, sets annotations, labels, HBAs, all of it. And then we have our audit and our history of what's gone out there, what's been deployed. And lastly, here's our URLs. So I went ahead and created this strategy for AWS.BuyByBox, just like we had here. We have Azure.BuyByBox. We have AWS here. So let's go see how healthy that is. And looks like our TLS is working and our app is working. And we've got, so this app is just here to show configurations. But one of the configurations is a dynamic template of, okay, where are we? We're in this cabinet, prod green. Here's our API pointed to prod green. If we were to do the same here in blue, we would see here is prod blue, API is pointed to prod blue. And if we go to production, we can see that our production URL is also pointed to blue. So now we're ready to go set ourselves up and switch this over blue-green style. All right, so now we go over to our domains tab and we can look, here's our internal BuyByBox. It's pointed to dev. So anything under dev gets the same treatment. Everything under QA gets the same treatment. Doesn't matter how many cabinets we have there. And we have BuyByBox. We also have Azure and AWS. We can delete these or change these however we need. But let's go here and say, okay, we need a new registry here, or host map. And this is going to go to cabinet scope, and it's going to go to green. And I'm going to select this strategy service.domain. And that's it. That's going to set the ingresses and TLSs for all of my workloads for all of this cabinet. And that just finished. So now I have all of these URLs that I can use. These are my dark deployment URLs, which is always nice to have. I can go spin things up, try things out, make sure everything's healthy in a dark subdomain. And then when I'm ready, I can add these, right? So we're still pointed to blue here, but we have everything that we need to support green now. So now I can go to my DNS and say, well, let's go pick up this API. Change this. And let's change this guy too. And there we have it. We've just done a blue-green deployment across cluster, across clouds even. And now we have things running in green. So how do we prove that? It takes a little while to propagate, but here's our blue. Let's see if we can catch it on a incognito tab. Still blue. I'll wait here and we can show it once it resolves. So once we've propagated, we can see that we're now pointed our app and APIs and the whole system from prod green, blue to prod green. And so here's our APIs pointing in the right direction. So everything's running, and we're running a different version. I actually was running the same version. This is config. Last bit is when I do want to upgrade to that 1.20. I can search for it, see that it's running in UAT. Now that I have jumped to a new cluster and gotten production ready, I can simply upgrade and move my system to get the latest versions out. So we can deploy that out. Now production is running my QA ready, release 1.20 or whatever it is. These are just tags. You can see all the workloads running. We've got replica sets, particular versions, service names, deployed. You can also look and compare yourself against the cabinets on this horizontal. So we're looking at the difference between prod green and prod blue. And blue has a different version. And so we can go look at history and see why. We can also go out to our domains and see, well, here's our dark deployment, and we can jump out into our domain again and see, yep, we're running 120 versus what's running in blue, which is running 121 or 110. So that's it. We just did a full system changeover from an old cluster to a new one. We've got all the workloads running healthily. We got our ingress and TLS working. Our services are all connected. Everything, all the ports are connected. That would include things like HPAs, labels, annotations, Helm charts that have CRDs in them. If you're working with stateful services with PVCs and file stores, we handle those things too. It will be different between going straight from a DNS to an internal ingress IP versus a gateway. Gateways, when you terminate those TLSs at the gateway, you can have all these ingresses replicate up to your ingress, and that's actually really clean for when you want to do canaries and dark deployments and do a slow changeover from blue to green. But as far as moving the cluster over and getting all the internal workings of that cluster working, this is what you see is how we recommend you do it. Hope that was helpful. See ya.